What's up, guys? Coach Frost here. Today, I got to sit down with the one and only Michael Florida. He came back for round 2, and he brought some reinforcements. His sidekick, Nicole, helped translate his mind-boggling explanations of how alcohol impacts your body, how THC impacts your body, and how to get the most out of your workouts. You guys are going to enjoy this one. Ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, nutritionist Michael Florida. Welcome back to the Elite MMA Podcast.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So last time you were here, I had you up against the ropes and you couldn't handle it. So you brought some reinforcements this time.
I did. Absolutely.
Right. So,
I brought the actual big guns. You told me that I was the big guns. I brought the actual big guns.
Nicole Ebner, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little nutrition today. I definitely want to dive into some inflammation, some fuel. Last time we talked about sleep, which really helped me, by the way. I got it together and saw a really big improvement in things. And then this last week of summer before school started, I went to Galveston for a few days. I got 4 hours of sleep a night. I ate a bunch of cookies. Everything got all messed up. And then by 2 days ago, I was just walking around just like an inflamed, I don't even know, a really big fat tick. And
you know, I was expecting you to respond back to me when I text you at 3:30 in the morning. I was like, oh, he's got to be up by now.
Nah.
After the last one, no response.
No response. But I got what my solution. I felt so inflamed. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a fast. And so I did not eat for 20 hours yesterday. And I could feel throughout the day, I had a little bit of oh, I need to eat something, brain fog. I can't, recall wasn't really there. But by 3 and 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I felt great. I could feel myself getting better throughout the day. What are your thoughts on fasting and inflammation and all that good stuff?
You know, fasting can be really beneficial if you're implementing in a particular situation like that. But if you're trying to do this every single day, fast through the early morning, that's not a great way to do it.
Okay.
But if you're kind of doing it as a metabolic reset to kind of restabilize your cellular biology, get your blood sugar restable again, and you're properly hydrating and not operating off caffeine all day long, then it's going to be a good benefit for you to do that. 24, 36, 48, even up to 72 hours can be really beneficial to kind of getting that metabolic reset, getting everything back to baseline so that you can go and reintroduce nutrition.
And you just hammer water during that phase?
Absolutely.
And try to just chill, not do too much exercise, just
Correct.
Look at it as a reset.
Absolutely.
So you don't like intermittent fasting? On the reg?
I do like intermittent fasting.
Okay.
I don't like it in the way that we've adopted it today.
Okay.
Okay. The way that we have adopted it today is we are essentially, in my opinion, preying on Americans that are over-caffeinated, overstressed, high workloads, working at high intensity, exercising at high intensities, and their cortisol's through the roof. And it's natural for your appetite to be low in the early part of your day because of all these external stressors. And so we're like, well, that's just a great time to fast. No, it isn't. It's a horrible time to do it. That's when you need to be fueling your body, right? And not fasting from, hey, I got up, had a great breakfast, ate my meals throughout my day, ate my dinner, and then I fasted from bedtime until I wake up and start all over again. That's a great way to do it. The way that it's being introduced today, in my opinion, is not very good.
And you brought up a good point. When you had done your 20-hour fast, you said no exercise or very limited exercise. How often do you see people doing intermittent fasting while training? And elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes, people will do intermittent fasting, and they will fast through the early parts of their day, and they'll do all their high intensity training, which is not great metabolically. And we talked about this on the other podcast, but essentially you're training your body to do this much output on less fuel. And so from a metabolism standpoint, that's really poor, because now all of a sudden I'm trying to get my body to do more exercise or more work on less calories. So you're trying to increase your metabolic function, and you're actually decreasing it through bad implementation and adaptation of the body.
We get a lot of clients who feel pretty crummy from high intensity training and an intermittent fasting methodology. They just really don't go well together. There's a time and place for intermittent fasting, absolutely. But for a lot of people who do HIIT, it's just not going to be what optimizes them.
So who would be, Nicole, your ideal like client to do intermittent fasting, and in what scenario?
Yeah, I probably have a very low amount of clients that I have on that structure, but I can think of 4 off the top of my head, and they have the same things in common. They are sedentary males.
Sedentary males.
I don't recommend it for females pretty much through and through. And then you can work it around your training methodology in your day, but most of the time, if you're sedentary and a male, it can be an okay fit for you.
And like pre-diabetic, or what? I mean, are they overweight or?
Yeah, oftentimes, because that's why they're implementing the strategy. Diabetes, we believe in a different methodology of trying to maintain a homeostatic state throughout your day.
Yeah, what do you do there? How do you do that? Tell me more.
It's a lot of food chemistry, portion size, timing. It's what we practice mostly at the office for the majority of our clients, but it's trying to produce the lowest amount of hormone. And for diabetics, it's insulin. Like, we're trying to limit the amount of insulin you produce throughout your day to try to keep you as even keel as possible. Your pancreas is tired. It's tired of managing your blood sugar for you. And so you can do that through food. It's just you have to manage it appropriately with frequency of consumption.
And are some people genetically more predisposed to be diabetic than others?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about ourselves. But absolutely. Like, there's insulin sensitive, insulin resistance. There's insulin normal, which the best possible thing I can be is insulin normal. My genetics will not let me be farther away insulin sensitive towards diabetes. So I have a much shorter journey to diabetes than someone like the person that's coming to mind is Paris Hilton.
Okay.
I know that's probably a very 90s reference, but someone like Paris Hilton is not predispositioned to be diabetic the way, I don't know, give me someone.
So yes, I mean, so people that have a tendency to, we talked about this on the first podcast, struggle to grow muscle mass. They are naturally very lean. They're very thin. They're just not they're going to struggle to put on muscle, but they're going to naturally stay very lean and very thin, right? So those people from a young age, they're further away from the diabetic spectrum, right? Because they're starting off at insulin sensitive, and they're going to have to work their way all the way through insulin normal, all the way to insulin resistant to become diabetic.
Yeah.
In comparison, you do have people that are more insulin normal.
Jelly roll.
Jelly roll. That's a great example.
Shout out to Jelly Roll.
Also,
okay.
I tell clients often 8th grade boys are pure genetics, in my opinion. So an 8th grade boy is either a cross country runner or a football player. And you have the skill set to see what we see. It's just lifestyle, routine, and medications or disorders can pull you away from that genetics. But that is what we're more of the football playing type 8th grader is going to be genetically more likely to have diabetes with mismanagement of food, and not the cross-country runner.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so back to the inflammation. So is inflammation, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that triggers inflammation, right? Like mismanagement of food, sleep, like what else? What are some no-nos, or what are some things that cause inflammation that we should all be watching out for?
Alcohol.
Training, right? Training is one of the biggest drivers of inflammation, right? But training and stress and stress, having high stress jobs, having, high stress lifestyle, having high stress in your exercise, and then not properly fueling that system correctly.
Okay, wait. This is where he starts going over my head. We got to back this up a little bit. So when we talk inflammation, I twisted my ankle gets swollen, inflammation. And then there's like if I eat some food that I'm allergic to, I kind of swell up. And then I get a really hard workout, so I'm kind of stiff with some lactic acid. Are those 3 different like inflammation sources? Or?
They are 3 different sources of inflammation, but they're all inflammation, right?
Yes.
And so when you talk about consumption of food and you're eating poor quality fuel, you're talking about inflammation that spans across all of your cellular biology.
Okay.
Through and through.
Got it.
Right? It's not just isolated to your gut. That is spreading throughout your system.
Yes.
Right? And so you introduce poor fuel, you're going to have inflammation. And some people are so accustomed to living with that inflammation day in and day out,
Yeah.
they don't even realize that they're
I
living
totally
with
get
it.
that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then suddenly they start cleaning up their food and they were like, whoa, I had no idea that my feet just constantly hurt. I just thought it was an age thing. I realized it was a nutritional thing.
Wow.
You know, but I see that a lot with training too. You know, it's like all of our training systems out there today that most Americans are adopting are under the anaerobic umbrella. They're very high in intensity and they're shorter in duration.
Yeah.
Because we as Americans go, I don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
So I need to expend the most amount of calories and the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be burning calories that I've eaten, so I'm not going to eat.
Okay.
And that drives inflammation.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So
big no-no.
you would think you're doing but it's making the situation worse.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, got it.
It's making it worse because the long-term trajectory of what you're really doing to your body is you're forcing it to adapt on no fuel.
Which stresses all your hormones, your organs, everything.
Correct.
Aging, you're aging yourself.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you're talking about fasting earlier, like, you know, just to kind of reiterate, the fasting that we're not really fans of doing is the early morning fasting. But if you fast from dinner all the way until your next meal the next morning, that's perfectly fine. And I'm saying breakfast. So you get up, you eat breakfast, I wake up at 3:30, I eat at 3:45, right? So I'm going to have something, but I have fasted from the time I had dinner at 6:30 until I have something at 3:45 almost every single day. That is a fast. It is just not the way that we have chose to adopt it as of late.
Got it.
Right? But that is what fasting was ultimately intended to do and mean.
Yeah.
Seasons change, days get longer, days get shorter, and during that time, fasts become longer in the fall and the winter, and days get longer, and the nights get shorter. In the spring and the summer, then your fasts are shorter. That's what it was ultimately intended to be, but we really kind of, in my opinion, bastardized it by saying, oh, well, it's convenient to not eat early in the morning because you're hungry, you're overstressed, and you're overcaffeinated.
Got it. So in general, is there a basic rule of thumb like, hey, everybody should fast for 24, 48 hours once a year, twice a year, every couple years?
In my opinion, if you are consistently fueling your body with good quality food, you're staying properly hydrated day in and day out, the system's running clean.
Got it.
There's no reason to try to reset your metabolic function.
So only when you get cattywampus.
Correct.
Okay,
and so if you go on vacation and you have done a lot of things over the last 5 to 7 days that you typically do not do, then yes, doing a fast can kind of help reset that cellular metabolism back to baseline. It's not that it won't reset itself if you get right back on your plan and do exactly what you used to be doing. It just may take you 2 to 3 days to do that versus maybe a hard 20 to 24 hour fast.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. And then foods that cause inflammation. Go.
Yeah. So foods that cause inflammation, they span the spectrum, but the things that we really think about are highly processed foods.
Okay.
Right? But remember, like my gastrointestinal tract doesn't support high insoluble fiber. So eating lots
vegetables. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why we brought her.
Yeah.
Translator.
eating lots of vegetables for me is inflammatory.
Okay.
Okay. That's not the normal, right?
Yeah.
But for me, that is the case. So it's remembering that all foods can create inflammation in particular individuals.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we have this ideology of what is good, clean food. And the reality is that anything can be bad for someone.
Fair. Okay, cool.
So, but the foods I think typically that are roped into the scenario of highly inflammatory foods are highly processed foods.
Okay.
Right. And so you hear the saying all the time of people shopping the perimeters of the grocery store.
Yeah.
And that's because they're reducing the process of the food. The more that you shop through the center, the more processed, the more additives, right, than that you're getting into your foods. And then those additives or those preservatives those dyes, whatever they may be, are going to be more prone to driving inflammation within your system.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we eat? Like fuel. Let's talk fuel.
Oh man, that's the big $1 million question, right? It's like what people eat is going to be individualized to that particular person,
Okay.
right? Based off of one, what their genetics are, two, what their training methodologies are, right? Three, what their biochemistry looks like, you know? And so, you know, I think in MMA, right, or jujitsu, I see a lot of guys that want to intermittent fast and want to go to a 6:30 a.m. roll,
Okay.
right? That's so bad,
Okay.
right? So bad.
Okay.
Okay, because first of all, you have to understand where does jujitsu fall under the umbrella of training systems?
Okay.
Anaerobic.
Okay.
It's high in intensity and short in duration.
Okay.
So you guys are going to go, let's say we're going to do, 5 3-minute rolls with a minute rest in between, right?
Okay.
You're going to go for high intensity, recover, high intensity, recover. So if you're not introducing the proper fuel prior to that training system, then the likelihood of your body getting the results that you want long term, maybe in the short term, you'll get some success, but in the long term, you will inevitably fail.
Okay.
Okay. So it's under the anaerobic training systems, right? That means it needs glucose,
Okay.
carbohydrates,
Okay.
right? So you need to make sure that you're having some carbs prior to engaging in that type of training system.
So basically, not necessarily even jujitsu. If you just did a high intensity workout at 6 or 7 a.m., you need to eat something before you go.
Absolutely.
Explain to someone how they might know that they are anaerobic versus how would someone listening in know that that's an anaerobic methodology versus an aerobic methodology?
So for me, I like to define anaerobic and aerobic systems really 3 major ways. Most people use heart rate to define it.
Okay.
Okay. And it is one of the 3 that you use to define anaerobic to aerobic. Okay. But you also have to look at the nervous system that is being recruited. And anaerobic systems recruit the sympathetic, which is your fight or flight. And then aerobic nervous system, recruits the parasympathetic, which is your recovery. Okay. So, when people do jujitsu, a girl that works at my office that does jujitsu, Leslie, she literally will text us and go, "Hey guys, I'm going to fight for my life." Right. It's a survivalistic nervous system that you're stimulating when you engage in essentially combat.
Yeah.
Right. So one, you're engaging that nervous system and you're doing it at high heart rates. And then the third thing is, what fuel are you using? Well, you're using carbs. Well, how do I know that I'm using carbs? Well, when you use carbs as energy, you form lactate.
Okay.
That lactate mixes with protons and amino acids in your muscles and forms what all of us know as lactic acid.
Okay.
So now you have lactic acid formation.
Okay.
I could give you a 3-pound dumbbell and you can just do little lateral raises with that 3-pound dumbbell. And I can assure you within 2 to 3 minutes, your shoulder is going to start burning.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're fighting for your life. You don't feel your heart rate up, but you feel your shoulder burning. That is an indicator that lactate is being formed.
Okay.
That is an indicator that what you're doing is anaerobic.
Okay.
But it didn't meet the criteria. It didn't meet all 3 criteria.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
But it met one of the 3. So that's why I try to use 3, because a lot of people want to only use that heart rate to determine, well, I was strength training and my heart rate was low, so that was aerobic. No, that's not the only criteria that defines an anaerobic system versus an aerobic system.
Okay. Got it.
That is from an anaerobic system.
Okay.
Then understanding if you're aerobic, right?
Yeah.
Aerobic intensity is typically lower intensity, long in duration. It's lower heart rate, right? That is the one way to measure it. Lower heart rate. It's not where
So
you're-
like walking.
absolutely.
Okay.
Rucking,
Okay.
biking,
Okay.
running at lower heart rates.
Okay.
Right? But you can run anaerobically as well.
Okay.
But all those lower intensity, long duration things, the things that you could sustain for long periods of time are going to be under that aerobic umbrella, right? And the primary source of energy that you're using when you do that training system is mostly fat.
Got it.
And when you're using fat as fuel, you're not forming these large volumes of lactic acid within your body. You're dissipating them very well. You're hyperoxygenating your body. You're pushing all this oxygen through your system. So you're actually reducing your inflammation.
Got it.
When you train aerobically. In comparison, when you train anaerobically and you form all that lactic acid, you create a ton of inflammation in your system.
How many people would you say confuse their zones based on their perceived effort?
I would say 90+% of people think their RPE, relative perceived exertion, because they're conversational in effort, they perceive it as them being aerobic, but that is not always the case. Just because your relative perceived exertion is really, really low, your heart rate could be sky high. And some people, what happens through time is they develop an anaerobic energy system that is so strong and so dominant, just so well developed that their body autopilots to it. So they're walking or jogging at a very easy effort, but their heart rate's 169.
Wow.
Yeah. So when he said that you can run aerobically, Michael can run aerobically. Elite level marathoners can run aerobically.
Okay.
Well, everyone can run aerobically, but they can do it at a reasonable pace. My aerobic run is at least an 11-minute mile because every time that I'm running faster than that, I flip to an anaerobic system. Even though, especially when it's cool outside, I'm conversational and I can chat about my weekend.
Yeah.
So my perceived effort might be low, although my energy system that I'm using is anaerobic. And why that might not be best for a lot of people who are trying to lean out is that overtraining that energy source is going to go against a lot of composition goals, which is why we see marathoners gain weight.
Okay. So to manage inflammation, say I do a hard, weightlifting hit session followed by later in the day, a hard jiu-jitsu rolling session. I'm stiff the next morning, full of inflammation. I go hit some slow burning 30-minute to an hour long treadmill, stationary bike, stair stepper. That's why I feel great that night because I've flushed all that stuff out of my system.
And you sleep better that night.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to sleep good the night before. So the true recipe of kind of optimizing overall metabolism and overall performance is I'm going to warm my system up with 10 to 15 minutes of aerobic work. Then I'm going to train my high intensity anaerobic system. And then I'm going to cool my system down by 10 to 15 minutes of aerobic work. So you build that inflammation and then you help flush it immediately after you have created it.
Okay. So let me give that back to you. I have a super hard jiu-jitsu rolling session. Mm-hmm. At the very end of that, I walk over to the stationary bike and ride it nice and easy for 15 minutes. That's optimal.
That's optimal. Absolutely.
Okay, that's easy to plug in.
And so but this is where a sport like jiu-jitsu and grappling it's all encompassing, right? It's like you have to really understand your energy systems and train them well to have the longevity in the sport and to have the efficiency in the sport. What does it take for an elite level grappler to be great?
Oof. They got to know all the moves.
So they have to have the cognition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got to, have a love for it. They've got to be totally obsessed. They've got to be someone who they could win a chess match or, they're just naturally a strategist. There's a ton of stuff.
So when I look at elite MMA guys, right? What I see, right? I'm not this big MMA guy, right? Or a grappler guy, but what I see is I look at it from an exercise science and a physiology standpoint, right? And what you need the cognition, right?
Yeah.
You need the ability to play chess, to navigate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to use Gordon Ryan as an example.
Okay.
Okay. So what makes Gordon Ryan great?
Steroids.
Wrong.
No, that's wrong. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So what makes Gordon Ryan great is one, he has the cognition. He has the skills that he has, the mental skill set to actually do the things he's trying to execute, not just the physical skill set,
Yeah.
but he has the mental skill set,
Sure,
right? He's
sure.
got John.
He's got Danaher.
Yeah, he's got
uploading.
Yoda.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
Yoda and Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
And so like John is Yoda. And for Gordon, right? So he has the cognition, but he also has the non-cognitive skills. He has the work ethic, he has the discipline.
Sure.
He has the grit, he has the tenacity. He has those things, okay? Then he has a genetic variable in this equation that really plays a major role, right? His musculature, his lever system, all those things play into his efficiency as a great grappler, okay? But then you look at I think he could be fueled better.
Okay.
That's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I think he could be fueled better. He really wants to heal his gastrointestinal tract. Like he could fuel better.
What causes
Intestinal stress?
Do steroids play a role in any of that?
They absolutely can, but
Yeah.
right, like poor nutritional fuel for a
Can cause
particular
that too.
individual is going to cause that.
Yeah.
Right. But then from an elite level athlete, you have to have strength.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
You have to have a lot of explosivity, right? You have to have power. Okay. Now, if you're trying to be a really good grappler, like you got to be strong. Okay. So that's like a power lifter. A power lifter is really strong. But do you think a power lifter is dynamic?
No.
No. Right? Because a power lifter is relying on a ton of force production.
Yeah.
Okay. In regards to, do you think a sprinter is powerful?
Yeah. Like the guys that come out of the blocks doing the 100, they got some power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're relying on velocity to create their power,
Yeah.
right? They're more speed.
Yeah.
Okay. In jiu-jitsu, you got to have speed and power.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to, and the cognition part of that is like, if you have two elite grapplers that are going at it, they have to know when to implement and utilize that speed and power. Right. So that is extremely important. And so with all of that, you also need mass.
Yep.
Mass moves mass.
Yeah.
And so one of the things about Gordon in his earlier days, he was a great grappler, but he lacked mass.
Yeah.
Right? He's a 190-pound guy.
Yeah.
185-pound guy.
Yeah.
And people go, well, anabolics. Well, yeah, but that gave him mass. So he had a lot of these variables in his equation that he needed to become a great grappler, but he lacked mass.
Yeah.
And so adding the mass, it put him at the top of the food chain.
So dumb it down for me. I obviously know what mass means, bigger. But
Bigger.
does that mean stronger as well?
Well, he was a strong guy.
Yeah.
But adding mass and increasing his neuromuscular stimulation, his strength, yes, it did. So he did get stronger, but he got stronger. You can have a guy that's 240, but that's not that strong, right? And you can have a guy that feels like he's 290 and he's only 225.
Okay,
just
so-
because he's so strong.
If I'm 180 pounds and I can bench press 300 pounds, and then now I'm 200 pounds and I can still bench press 300 pounds, you're saying just that mass is going to be helpful.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so in the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA, you really have to be smart. You have to have the discipline,
Yeah.
right? The non-cognitive skills. You have to be fueled properly. You have to have the right strength and conditioning that goes into that. And that is where the strength and conditioning side of MMA in general, or grappling, it spans the whole spectrum of training systems.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does.
And because you have to be good at so many disciplines to be great, and that is what's really hard, especially from a training standpoint. And those training systems, they all need to be fueled a particular way.
Yeah.
They all need to be recovered a very particular way, right? You remember Tim Sylvia,
Yeah.
right? From UFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old school. Militant.
All right. So Tim Sylvia, do you think he's an explosive athlete?
No.
No, but he had great knockout power.
Okay. If you say so. Yeah. 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 I mean, he was big. He was just way taller and bigger than everybody. But yes, he knocked people out. Yes.
Because he was strong.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of mass.
Yeah. Yeah. The mass. Yeah,
So
that's fair.
he utilized his mass and his raw strength to create his power.
Yeah.
In combination, someone like Conor McGregor is not massive,
Right.
right? But he's still relatively strong for his
Sure.
size. But because he's so fast, he creates a lot of power,
Yeah, that's fair.
right? And so that's what you have to look at is in exercise physiology, we call it force production
Sure.
or explosive power,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you create that? How do you become better at doing those things, right? And so you have to figure out like, okay, well, what am I a really strong guy? Or am I a powerlifting kind of guy? Or am I a speed kind of guy? You know, and what happens, I think, in the world of grappling and the world of MMA is some of those guys, they have a tendency to do what they're good at. They came in as a wrestler and they want to go straight to wrestling, right? But there is no athlete that gets better from being comfortable.
Okay.
You know what CrossFit is, right?
Sure.
Shane Orr, he is the coach of his wife, Tia Claire Toomey.
Okay.
And one of the things that he said, I heard him say this before the CrossFit Games here recently. He said, no athlete excels if they train in safety.
Okay. Yeah.
But people think safety is putting yourself at risk constantly, but that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
Right? But safety also doesn't mean I need to go hard in the ignoring safety doesn't always mean I need to go hard in the paint,
Sure.
right? It's like if I tell you, Frost, every single day, you need to get your butt up and you need to go and run for 60 minutes at a low heart rate, that's probably going to be uncomfortable for you.
Sure.
It's probably going to be boring for you.
Yeah.
But sometimes we always have a tendency to put that level of safety under the physical attributes.
Okay.
It's psychological too,
Okay.
right? It's mental as well. It's emotional. Like, that's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. That's boring.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. If you're a very explosive athlete and you're good at that, but you want to be better because your endurance sucks, you're going to have to go do the slow grinds.
Yeah. For sure.
You're going to have to do it because if you don't do it, you're not going to get better. The foundation of your energy systems is the low intensity, long duration.
100%.
That's
the VO2 max conversation.
that's a VO2 max conversation. Yes.
That's what I found because I'm exactly what you were describing. High intensity, that was my thing. And then I plugged in long, slow, boring cardio sessions and saw like where I would be tired in a 30-minute rolling session. And now I'm like good for an hour or hour and a half or 2 hours. You know, I could just roll so much longer just from putting in the boring, slow cardio.
Absolutely.
A couple days a week. No
Yeah.
big deal. And then, okay, let me back to the mass because I think this is a really good topic, especially for jiu-jitsu and MMA guys because there's weight classes, right?
Absolutely.
So my first two MMA fights, I fought at 170. And most of my jiu-jitsu career, I competed on game day at like 175, 176. So I thought, okay, in order for me to be super competitive at the pro level, I needed to cut to 155. I'd beat a lot of guys that were in like UFC fighters. I'd beat them in jiu-jitsu matches and stuff that were doing well in the 155 division. So I was like, okay, if I can cut and compete at that level, I felt like way stronger when I would cut around that weight class against guys. I was just bigger than people, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But for my third MMA fight, I cut down to that. I had my appendix taken out a couple weeks, about a month before the fight. So, I mean, my whole camp was all screwed up. But my whole training camp, I got like one takedown. I just performed so terribly. And, you know, when I thought about my strength, I justified it like, well, okay, maybe I can't do as many pull-ups as I could when I was at 170, or maybe I can't do as much bench press or squat. You know, maybe I don't have the mass, but I'm still pretty damn strong for 155. I'm still taller than these guys. My limbs are still longer. I've got the reach. I've got, you know, I justified it,
Yep.
but I at this point in my life, I'm like very certain I overcut.
Absolutely.
Like I would be better off to be on the smaller side of the 170 division than the biggest guy in the 155 division. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I most definitely agree because your body has a place where it's going to perform the most efficiently at.
Yeah.
have a sustainability in that window, right?
Yes.
And so getting there, it's like, what are you really losing to get there?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you may feel strong, but you've lost strength. Believe
Yes.
me, you
Yes.
lose strength, right?
Yes.
You lose endurance
Yes.
getting
Totally.
there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the amount of fuel that you store, glycogen in your muscles, you deplete. So you lose capacity, you lose strength, you don't feel as focused because you're depleted, right? There's a lot of variables that you do lose. So it's like, am I willing to lose those things, right? To be in that weight. And at what cost? What is the longevity in the sport if I'm going to compete at that weight? Right? How likely is it for me to go day in and day out at this weight class and then or at this weight and then have to cut to this weight class?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're giving a lot of things up, but there are weight classes, right? But if I take an athlete that's 280
Okay.
and he's a purple belt,
Mm-hmm.
and then I take an athlete that is 165 and he's a black belt, even though the purple belt he's losing in a lot of categories in regards to just the mental game, right? The understanding of the training and the game, but he has a lot of mass on this guy. And you see guys that'll sometimes jump up in a weight class, or Mikey Musumeci.
Okay.
Right? You've seen him. I've seen him like roll with like really big dudes, right?
Yes.
Now there are other black belts, but it's like Mikey is exponentially more educated in the world of jiu-jitsu, right? But
Sure.
he's still struggling with this guy because he just has more mass.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
He has more strength, right? He's not more explosive than Mikey. Mikey's way more explosive, but this guy is strong.
Yes.
And he's using that mass, he's using that strength to create power,
Yeah.
force production.
Yes.
And that's what you need to be an elite level grappler. That is what you need to be an elite level MMA guy. But those things come at a cost, because when you learn to generate a lot of force, you learn to form a lot of lactic acid.
Okay.
And that comes with inflammation.
Yeah.
And so when you learn to train aerobically, you learn to dissipate that lactic acid more efficiently. You learn to recover from forming that lactic acid really fast, and you learn to dissipate it faster while you're actually rolling. You're all of a sudden recovering better. You just said, man, suddenly I just did a 30-minute roll and it felt like nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what's so hard about grappling, in my opinion, and in MMA, is that you have to be able to train very efficiently and perform very efficiently in so many different modalities of energy systems to be good. You have to be good in your aerobic energy system, or your aerobic endurance, I should say. You have to be good in your aerobic power. You have to be good in your anaerobic endurance, and you have to be good in your anaerobic power.
Yeah.
You have to be able to span the full spectrum of energy systems to be elite on that level. And in my opinion, Gordon Ryan is a great grappler because he does train these.
He's checking all the boxes.
He's checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Man. That dude has capacity.
Yeah.
He has capacity, but where he was lacking, one thing was mass. And when he got 225, 230, he started crushing people.
Yeah, for sure.
So it plays a role.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Okay, so the two things that I'm going to plug in after this conversation. Number one, don't be afraid to put on some mass and compete in a bigger weight class, even if you're one of the smaller guys in that weight class, because your body's going to respond better. You're going to live a healthier life. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have less injuries. You're going to have a longer career, all those things. You might feel like, man, some of these guys are stronger than me, but that doesn't matter. I mean, strength is not the number one reason people win or lose a match. There's a lot of other variables involved too. And then the second thing I'm plugging in is a 10 to 15 minute cool down at the end of every hard training session. That's something that I don't do, that I've accidentally done a few times and noticed the difference. But usually what happens is people roll hard. We stand up, we bow out, we lay on the mat, we roll on a foam roller, we BS, we talk, what'd you do? How was that move? What was this? How'd that go down? And then we all get in the car for 10 or 15 minutes and drive home, then get in the shower, then get in bed and don't move. And then we're stiff as hell the next morning.
That's right.
So plugging in 10 to 15 minutes of whatever, get that heart rate pumping. How high should my heart rate be pumping after a training session when I'm doing my cool down?
I like to utilize, there's a guy named Dr. Phil Maffetone. He's a chiropractor. He has something that he uses, the MAF equation, maximum aerobic function, and that is 180 minus your age. And that's a good baseline to say 180 minus your age, do not exceed that heart rate, is going to keep you in that zone 2 window. It's going to keep you in that aerobic window. People are like, well, I went and got lactic threshold tested, and my stuff is saying I can go a lot higher than that. I understand that. But I'm telling you, if you want to err on the side of lower intensity, right?
Yeah.
Not too low,
Yeah.
but lower intensity, to make sure that you're hyperoxygenating your body, dissipating that lactic acid, and recovering your system correctly.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. Back to gut health.
Yep.
Okay, I hear a lot of stuff about gut. I actually did like a gut reset. Can I show you some of the supplements that I used?
Yes.
So I asked my good friend ChatGPT, because I have like these food allergies, and so I dove into this on ChatGPT, like what can I do about these food allergies? And it was like you could have leaky gut that's causing this stuff, and it, or maybe you had it in the past, and so it recommended this stack to do for sort of a gut reset. Okay, so number one, and I just have like basic vitamin questions for you too. So it talked about this aloe vera. It talked about, I think lion's mane, but that was sort of different. This quercetin, and then this L-glutamine, and then some like bone broth. Okay. And I did it pretty, regimentedly for like 2.5 months. And I think I noticed a difference. Like I was in Italy this summer and hit some pizza. Like cause I'm like pretty gluten sensitive and don't do dairy and don't eat eggs. And like I was able to eat some like pizza and stuff. And now I know what they say over there. It's a little bit different.
It's a lot
different. But I even when I came back, I was like hit some cookies a little bit, just sort of tested it out. And I definitely didn't. I used to, like, if I had a sip of a beer or a cookie, I would need a Benadryl within an hour. I just had this massive histamine response. And so, and I think it got better. So what are your thoughts on just gut health in general?
So gut health is extremely important, right? But did you implement everything at one time?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so what is working and what isn't working?
Yeah, no idea.
Okay. So that's the first problem.
Yeah.
It's like being able to now troubleshoot what is helping you and what isn't, right? When now it's like, well, if I feel like I want to get these results consistently, now I need to take all this stuff. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now, the aloe vera, I mean, everybody remembers this. I remember getting a cut as a kid and my grandma going and snapping off a branch of her aloe vera plant and rubbing it on, a cut, to reduce inflammation and to help the healing process.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. You can most definitely do that. But for some people, you introduce aloe vera, and guess what? They're like, oh my God, my stools are not even solid anymore. They're just like, go right through me, It's, that can sometimes be a little bad. The Grunes little packet that you have there.
Yeah.
I recommend them to people all the time.
My wife, I told her you were coming on today, and she was like, I got these things for the kids. You got to ask them about it. So these are like kids' superfood green gummies.
Yeah.
So you think they're good?
I really do. I mean, my wife loves those things.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like, for sure, the prebiotics, the probiotics, what is in them has most definitely helped kind of restore some of the microbiome of her gut to allow her to tolerate foods more effectively, right?
Oh, really? So if somebody, say, eats beef and then has an upset stomach, if they introduce some greens, that might get better?
Correct.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not going to necessarily work for everybody, but yeah, I mean, you can most definitely, if you take those things on a consistent basis. But for me, it's always like, okay, this is what I'm doing consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to introduce this one variable and kind of ride it out and see how my body goes.
Okay.
Right. And we had this conversation a little bit on the last podcast, but my issue with supplements at times is people take a supplement, but it's like, but you're not changing your food. You're not changing your lifestyle habits. You're not changing your training methodology. You're not doing all these big role players in the role of inflammation, in the role of gut health to optimize that microbiome, but you'll take all those supplements, right? Like if you do all these other things right and you're still having issues, then you start to add those into your equation and you see, oh, well, I got a little better on that. Oh, I'm getting a little better on that. Okay, these things are working. These things are benefiting me, right?
So, sorry to interrupt. Is gut health like you get it better and then your gut's good, or you need to keep doing whatever's working?
It's like it depends.
Okay.
It depends. But it's like you hurt your knee and it's inflamed.
Yes.
And you keep rolling on it and keep rolling on it and keep training on it.
Yes.
And it just becomes more and more pissed off.
Yes.
Right. And then so you're throwing icy hot and naproxen at it to try to get the inflammation out. But the reality is you need to manage your training correctly.
Yeah.
That's
Fair.
the root cause.
Yeah.
And what people do typically with supplements is they're doing all these things wrong in their lifestyle and they throw supplements at it trying to fix it.
Got it.
The supplement is the icy hot. The supplement is the naproxen. But the reality is okay, maybe I need to back off grappling so hard or back off some of my high intensity training and assess what I'm doing there to allow this to recover. And if you allow that to recover, well, now when you go back to rolling, well, your knee doesn't hurt every single day.
Or back off the alcohol, or back off the grains, or back off the whatever's causing the gut inflammation.
That's exactly right. Or having better sleep habits.
Better sleep
That
habits,
one of
too.
the things we talked about in the beginning, right? It's like sleep is so critical in all of this, but it's all about recovery.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with micronutrients,
Yes.
what you're doing is you're trying to help accelerate recovery, right?
Yes.
And that is a good thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to fix the problem. Sometimes it's just a Band-Aid, and the root cause of what is driving the problem is something you really need to assess.
Okay. I really like eating the gummy vitamins because there's like a gummy treat.
Yeah.
Okay. So are they soluble? You know, I remember the back of the day, somebody like dropped some vitamins in a thing of water and they like didn't dissolve. And they're like, see, don't eat that crap. It's just going to go right through you. Are these gummies as efficient as a capsule with granule stuff in it? Like, how does all that work?
Yes, they can be efficient. I mean, obviously the quality of the production of the gummy is really going to matter.
So
right?
not all brands are created equal.
That's
No.
what I was going to say. It depends on the brand. The different brands impact the bioavailability of the quality of.
So is there a brand that you like that you recommend gummy wise?
Well, I think what Michael was saying is that the Grooms is an excellent brand, whereas some of the other gummies,
So these nature made ones that I got on Amazon,
not always. the
not
best.
so great, but
Yeah.
they taste so good. They're just covered in sugar or something. You
I
know, I
think
don't know
they're
what that
exactly
is.
covered in sugar.
What about this VitaFusion stuff? Nah.
I'm not as familiar with that one. Are you?
I'm not familiar with VitaFusion.
Okay, but you like these Grunes. So, all right, cool.
Yeah. I mean, and once again, I mean, supplements can be great. They can be really good. I think we maybe talked about it a little bit on the last one, but creatine is a supplement.
Sure.
Great.
Great.
Right? Really good. I mean, especially if you want to be a more explosive athlete, supplement creatine.
Yeah.
Right? You know, depending on your weight, take 2.5 to 5 grams before you train, 2.5 to 5 grams after you train. Like when you're talking about these energy systems, right? The one at the very top is called the phospholytic energy system.
Oh boy, here he goes again.
Yeah.
or the ATP creatine energy system. That is your anaerobic power. That is like when you want to flip somebody off you. That's when you want to lift something super heavy, right? That's when you want to sprint for 40 to 60 meters, like super fast, super high explosive. That's where that creatine is really going to shine.
Okay.
Right? That supplement is going to really help you perform in that energy system.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so implementing it, it's great, man.
Yeah. The scary thing about supplements is on social media, I think there's a lot of health anxieties right now, and social media has an answer for each and every one. So
Yeah, right.
they're really going to push all kinds of supplements on you
Based on your fears.
based on your fears. I mean, without going into a huge rabbit hole, but it can trickle down all the way to seed oils and beef tallow, and this social media has just made people very, very afraid. And
Well, go down that rabbit hole for a second. Seed oil, because I'm interested in that.
so what Michael was saying before, I'm not saying that you should go out and seek products with seed oil or seek products with red 40, but people are being very dialed in without I don't think you said broad stroke,
I did not know.
what did you call it before? Without doing the bigger picture things like getting better. Before we focus on seed oils, we need to be focusing on sleep quality and proper
I see what you're saying.
consumption.
You can avoid the seed oil, but if you're getting crap sleep, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. What is leading to metabolic disease is eating ultra processed, low nutrient food. Whether or not it's fried in beef tallow or seed oil does not
That's
matter.
just the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's still, it almost makes you feel like fast food is now better for you when ultimately, if you're trying to improve your lifespan, you should minimize fast food as a whole.
Yeah. So, okay. But what's better, seed oil or beef tallow?
Beef tallow is probably going to be my answer, but
Okay.
science shows that seed oils, unless consumed in high quantities, it really is insignificant.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying go and consume seed
Yes,
oil,
yes.
but
But
if you're sleeping 4 hours a day, that's a night. That is a bigger.
yeah, if you've got some major health issues, clean up the seed oil, but address the real issues, which are usually sleep and regular food that you're putting in your body.
Correct.
Okay, that's pretty solid. So really, the elite athletes that are doing not even athletes, just people that are doing everything right. Yeah, check out the Red 40, check out the seed oil,
Of course,
check out that stuff.
dialing in that stuff's going to make a big difference. And then I always explain that alcohol is a type 1 carcinogen and seed oils is 2B. So again, it's looking at your lifestyle and realizing, do we dial in on seed oils or do we dial in on our bottle of wine every night?
Yeah, the 6 glasses of wine I drank a week versus the couple tablespoons of seed oil.
Correct.
So, yeah, the alcohol is going to be worse for me than the seed oil.
It's going to be worse for you, yeah.
Okay.
But nobody wants to hear
Nobody
that.
wants to hear that.
That's not fun.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, so it's just sometimes and again, if you're doing so many things correct, I love to have this conversation on how we can optimize your specific nutrition. But I think the mass of Texas and the society needs to focus on bigger picture items that's going to keep them from getting metabolic disease in their later life, which is going to improve their lifespan.
So how bad is the alcohol? I just asterisk, I don't drink. I stopped like 5 years ago because I was worried I was going to have a beer, get a sinus infection, get COVID, and die. So I was like, all right, I'm cutting out the booze. And then I just felt so much better. I just stopped.
Yeah. Well, I actually have good news. I just read, and we could verify it, that alcohol consumption is one of the lowest it's been.
I saw that. Even with kids, it's like crazy low.
Which is wonderful news. However, I mean, it's in top obstacles for the people we work with. Alcohol is either 1 or 2. I don't know what you.
Yeah, I would most definitely say it's a huge obstacle, right? Because it's like people are entertaining, they're drinking, they use it to like, I had a stressful day at work, my kids are driving me crazy.
It definitely works.
Yeah, and
You have a glass or two of wine or something, and I will walk home. My wife's had a glass of wine. I'm like, wow, you're in a really good mood. Yeah, wow.
I don't know if you want to leave that in for us.
No, but like in general,
Oh, you're in a really good mood. I thought you were saying she was.
Yeah, he's in a really good mood.
Yeah.
But you see that all the time. You walk into a bar at happy hour, they're having a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps.
Yeah.
But circling back to as soon as you drink alcohol,
Yeah.
right, the quality of sleep
Goes down. Yes.
The ability for your body to recover goes down.
Yes.
Your body's ability to metabolize food the next day goes down.
Yes.
Your appetite goes up. So now you're just perpetuating metabolic damage by consuming alcohol because you're going to sleep worse, you're going to recover less,
Yeah.
and you're going to be hungrier the next day with more inflammation.
I know, that's such a perfect storm. So it's almost like, okay, if I went and ran a marathon, I would take a day off the next day, get some extra sleep, rest, recovery. It's almost like if you're going to go drink, you need a couple days of recovery to reset everything because you just totally whacked your system.
Yeah. And it's, I think, so crazy is people are like, no, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out really hard to flush this out of my system. And I'm like, you do realize that
That's worse.
your skin, your integumentary system is only removing about 1 to 2% of your toxins. So
Integumentary, that's a good one too.
sweating it out,
Yeah.
that's not a thing, man.
That's not a thing.
It's your liver that's processing all of this, your kidneys that are trying to get all this out of your body. body. Like sweating it out is not a real thing.
And I can't remember if it was you who gave me this example. I'm pretty sure. If you put hand sanitizer, the alcohol on your hands every day, how do your hands look?
It get bad, right?
Yeah, that's exactly how your GI tract is looking from chronic alcohol consumption.
Ooh.
It's red, raw, inflamed. You know, the first half of the podcast, inflammation.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot, especially in Texas right now, about THC and those THC drinks and THC gummies and all these workarounds around the marijuana laws and all that kind of stuff. So for people that, okay, maybe I don't want to have a glass of wine because I'm scared I'm going to pickle my liver, but I'm going to, have one of these THC things. Is that a better thing than alcohol, or does that just have its own whole set of issues with it too? Or has it not been studied yet enough to really know that?
No, the science most definitely supports that it is exponentially less inflammatory. And actually, it can be anti-inflammatory, right?
No kidding.
Combinations of CBD and THC or cannabinoids and tetrahydrochloride, those things combined can actually help reduce inflammation. And that's why by USADA, they're considered a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah, that because I always like what Diaz got popped for marijuana. I thought performance enhancing. I've never seen like a pothead that's a great performer, but I guess you're right. It helps with recovery.
Manage pain.
Yeah,
too.
if you're suppressing some pain receptors in your body, you're reducing your inflammation, you're able to push harder in your training.
Yeah,
I mean,
get it.
But the obvious thing that we know is THC, how do you manage that after it's consumed, right? So if it leads to clearing out your pantry, then that is going to go against your...
If you go hammer all the cookies and you got inflammation, yeah. That's
so do you fall asleep, or did you order yourself an Uber Eats delivery? Which
that's
direction
hysterical.
did you
What
go?
type of decisions do you make after the THC is consumed?
That matters.
That's fair. Yeah. And then I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about the sleep you get with THC is not as good as your natural sleep. It's harder to hit those REM cycles and all that kind of stuff too.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. But it's better than alcohol.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's better than alcohol.
Better for you than alcohol, but comes with its own set of issues too.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens because I know it's a big part of, I'm sure y'all saw all that stuff a couple of weeks ago with Greg Abbott and THC and whether it's going to be. I think it's interesting. I think it definitely needs to be regulated because you can drink one of those things. You can go buy these things at Specs or Total Wine or any of the liquor stores around here, and you can have one of them and you're like, I feel pretty good. I don't really, just kind of chilled out. And then you drink a different brand and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on the moon. You know what I mean? So there's a real dosage issue in that space that definitely needs to get tightened up compared to if you have a glass of wine or a different brand of wine, it's all about the same,
And but it's also like, how do people respond to THC? Right? It's like, I mean, I heard this term the other day from a client, which a doom loop.
I don't know what that is.
It's like
a doom loop.
Which
Like you're
brain
freaking
does.
out.
just like paranoid, just like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like in this doom loop of like when utilizing, THC. And in comparison to some people are like, oh no, it mellows me out and like makes me feel, not everybody. Right?
Interesting.
But it's like you have people that they drink alcohol and they just become angry.
Yeah.
They become very aggressive. And then some people are like, oh no, I'm a happy drunk. It's like, I'm just like, I'm all smiles and joking, but
That's so true.
It impacts people differently.
That's true. I didn't even think. I guess alcohol does too. You're right. Yeah. Some people are happy and fun to be around. Other people, you're like, dude, I don't want to be around that guy when he's drinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would probably be that guy. I'm serious. I mean, I would probably
Which
be
guy?
the mean guy.
The meathead, dude.
No, I would probably be angry. I mean, I've never had alcohol in my entire life. Not a
Really?
single
Never,
drop.
ever?
Never done a drug.
Yeah.
But
It became a competition. So
What do you mean?
he wasn't interested in it originally, but then people kept telling him that he would eventually have a drink, or I'm going to get you to have a drink. So it just became,
Yeah, because he's got the good willpower and all that
it
stuff.
became a competition to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah. You should probably not at this point.
Oh, I'm not.
Write it out. Write it
I'm
into the
absolutely
grave.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. I quit drinking. I've never smoked pot or anything recreationally, but I have had some of those drinks, and like I mentioned, one of them, oh, this is good. Next one, oh boy, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
But interesting. I'm really interested to see what the government does with that, because I guess there's all these lobbyists out there, the alcohol lobby that's trying to get it waxed. Supposedly is the rumor mill.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, I mean, then you hear all those vets and people that talk about how great it is for their PTSD and all that kind of stuff too. So clearly there's a space for it somewhere.
Yeah.
But you don't need, 12-year-old kids rolling into the, convenience store, drinking that stuff and walking into traffic or something.
Absolutely.
But I did hear a good quote. Nobody does THC and then beats their wife. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about, like the angry drunk. You know, people drink some Jack Daniels and get abusive. People drink some THC and eat the cookies and watch the TV. You know,
or go into a doom loop.
Yeah, they go into the doom loop.
The cops are going to come get them.
The cops are coming. I gotta go hide in my closet. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, cool. So if you're designing a program for me and other MMA or jiu-jitsu competitors, like, what does that look like?
Oh man, I mean, first of all, from a nutrition standpoint, from a training standpoint,
all of it, dude, all of it. Where do you want to start?
So I from a training standpoint, I would most definitely say that once again, we gotta touch all the spectrums.
Okay.
Right. But I think what happens is in jiu-jitsu, a lot of people, they focus on, not necessarily in jiu-jitsu, but early on in jiu-jitsu, a lot of people go, man, well, I was going 2 days a week and I'm getting a lot better.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll start going 3 days a week.
Okay.
So what they make a correlation of is that quantity equals getting better.
Yes.
But in the reality, in the early stages, their quantity and their quality of training are directly aligned.
Okay.
Okay?
By quality, do you mean like recovery in between?
They're learning.
They're learning. Okay, got it.
They're learning,
Okay.
right? In strength and conditioning, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You always prefer quality over quantity.
Okay.
Okay? And so, hey, I'm going 2 days a week. I'm going to go 3, and I'm getting better. And so immediately that person goes, well, now I need to go 4 days a week. So they go 4 days a week. But then there's eventually a divergence, right? That I'm getting higher quality, but I'm not necessarily getting the quality reps in that higher quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly they go, hey, Frost, I'm going 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
What's going on? And then maybe they like sign on and they do a private with you.
Yeah.
And they get really good quality feedback.
Okay.
And they're like, whoa, that was awesome. I got so much better from one session, right?
Yes.
See, that's why we prefer quality over quantity.
Okay.
Okay. And so it doesn't matter how you're trying to increase strength, right? Or in an MMA force production, right? Power output. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. Do I need to lift heavy loads at low rep schemes? Do I need to lift very low loads at higher rep schemes or higher speeds? Sprinting is really good in that, right? Strongman stuff is really good for this. And then Olympic weightlifters, they're going to lift, moderate loads at moderate speeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of those matter, but quality is very important in that. You can go out and run 20 sprints at 100 meters each time, but if you don't recover your muscle efficiently, right? If your goal is to develop high-end speed and you're only resting 30 seconds in between each one, well, you're not going to develop high-end speed, because that high-end speed is this upper echelon of your training energy systems,
right,
that phospholytic. So you need to recover longer. You need to recover 2.5 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you rest 30 seconds and then you run again, well, now you're not going as fast. And now you dip down into this anaerobic endurance energy system, this glycolytic, this carb fueled energy system, right? Completely different. So it's not always better to do more. It's better to do really good, efficient reps. So I'm going to do 5 sprints at 100 meters as fast as I can with proper recovery. And if that is your goal, to develop high-end power and high-end strength, it's going to make you a more explosive athlete. right? Because it's like you're just now the Manny Pacquiao, right? You're not the Tim Sylvia,
Yeah.
right? You're using low loads at high velocities to get your power, right? Versus Tim Sylvia using heavy load and strength to get his power. You're getting to the same place, okay? And so do I do heavy things at low loads at really good high quality? Do I do moderate things at moderate loads at really high quality? Or do low loads at high velocities, high speeds at really high quality? What am I doing here, right? And that is important. And you want to train each of these domains, especially in a sport like MMA.
Okay.
You want to train them, because if you're usually just lifting heavy to try to be stronger on the mat, then it means you have some low-hanging fruit left on the tree with the speed,
Okay.
right? With doing some box jumps, with doing some plyometric works. My dad in strength and conditioning, he always just say that's low-hanging fruit. Like, it's so easy. Like, doing 10 really high box jumps can really actually help you get stronger, right? Because it trains you to utilize that dynamic energy, that elastic energy, that explosive
I'm taking notes.
energy.
Okay. So you're saying train, not pick and choose, but train all of them.
Train all of them,
Okay. I mean,
Right.
that makes sense.
okay? But so let's say you have 5 brown belts, and,
Okay.
and you're a black belt, right? You got 5 brown belts, right? And you want to get better, right? By the time you really start getting fatigued enough to really utilize your skill set, you had to go through the first 5. I'm giving an example.
Okay.
Had to wear yourself down,
Okay.
okay? That's a lot of repetitions to finally get to the good quality reps.
Okay. You meaning when I'm a little gassed and challenged more.
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
That's the quality you're searching for.
So I'm searching for a struggle.
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in that struggle, right, it incentivizes you, it pushes you to a place mentally to survive.
Okay.
Okay. So I have to go through one whole circuit of guys just to gas me enough. Now, what if you were to train a little bit differently?
Okay.
What if you were to like, all right, we got this assault bike over here, we got this ski erg over here,
Yeah.
and we got this sandbag.
Yeah.
And I'm going to push 20 calories on the air bike, harden the paint, right? Gas myself. I'm going to walk over to that sandbag. I'm going to flip it over my shoulder, 100-pound sandbag, 5 to 10 times, and then I engage immediately.
Yeah.
Now you've created global fatigue, cardiorespiratory fatigue. You've formed lactic acid. Now suddenly that brown belt, he's more in alignment with you.
Yeah.
Because you have now, your strength isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
Your power output isn't what it used to be. Your endurance isn't what it used to be. So the likelihood of him catching you
It's gone up.
is playing in his favor. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone up.
Yeah.
Right. So now as an athlete, you're putting yourself less at risk to go through 5 3-minute rolls, right? To get to the quality reps. Now you went through 2 minutes of high intensity training and then you engaged in the roll, and that is great quality for you.
Interesting. Because I got to be sharper with my technique and sharper mentally
Absolutely.
to be able to pull that off. That's pretty cool because, you know, when you look at the room full of jiu-jitsu people, you got white belt all the way to black belt. The white belts are challenged every roll, right? The blue belts are
Quality.
Everybody's getting that quality. And then you do see like that purple, brown, black, depending on how many people are in the room, you know, they don't get challenged as much. So you're saying just supplement it with a few rounds on the bike or skier or whatever for the advanced guys to make sure they're getting that quality hard workout.
Absolutely. And once again, is that now you really have to refine your skills, right? You really have to hone in your mental game, hone in your physical skills, because now your body's being really clouded by all this fatigue, right? And so that is a great way to kind of get there. It's not the only way to get there,
Yeah.
but it's a really good way to get there.
Yeah.
It's a very efficient way to get there. And I have seen athletes introduce that. That methodology is kind of, do you know who Patrick O'Shea is? He developed a system called interval weight training.
Okay.
Okay. And so essentially he would go, all right, You want to learn how to be able to perform these high skilled movements under fatigue. Well, I'm going to fatigue you with some kind of monostructural cardio, biking, running, jogging, whatever, and then I'm going to introduce this high skilled movement. Now it's like your movement patterns and everything have to be tighter to be able to create or execute this skill. Your focus has to be on point, right? And when I said earlier, like incentivizing yourself, right? It's like you have to put yourself in a position where you really have no other option but to be at the top of your game. And that's really hard to emulate when you're not competing,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
It's because in competition, you go there immediately, but you're on par with the other guy.
Yeah.
Skill level, weight level, a lot of other levels, right? Your goal is to beat him in other aspects, but you're essentially on par with him.
Yes.
Okay. And so for you, it's like, hey, I only have brown belts at my disposal. And to me, a brown belt, he has all the skills, but he just doesn't, we talked about this in the first one, he just doesn't know how to use his tools
Yeah.
as efficiently as you do.
Sure.
Right? You use those tools in a microsecond. He has to kind of stage it to get ready to go, to do it.
Right.
Right. And so if I fatigue you cardiovascularly, globally, muscularly, form some lactic acid in your body, suddenly it's like you got to be that much sharper because he's strong, and some of these weaknesses that he has, well, they don't matter anymore. Now he can try to get you in a position, and you got to be real on top of that.
Okay. 2 questions around this. So on Tuesdays, I do like an hour and a half of weights and like rehab type stuff. And then an hour and a half after that, I have a hard rolling session. Okay. So I didn't like get a ton of cardio done in the weight session, but I've definitely pushed myself. And I found that I really enjoy the hour of rolling after I've done the hour of jiu-jitsu earlier. I mean, the hour of weightlifting, because my body's loose. I feel good. And maybe I don't have the gas that I would if I was fresh, but my timing seems better and I don't get as sore. So granted, I'm not riding the bike right before I jumped on the mat, but do you think that is sort of accomplishing what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's not essentially it's accomplishing it in some way, but
Yes.
not really, right?
Okay.
Because it's like you need to be engaging immediately.
Okay, right after, like while
Right
you're
after.
gassed, while you're huffing, jump out there and go.
Right, because your tissue has recovered a lot.
Yes.
Right, and so, but what you just kind of described, it's like it's kind of what they use in like SEAL training.
Okay.
Right, like they push these guys to their limits.
Yeah.
And so when they're pushed to their limits, it's like, can you still follow orders?
Yes.
And do what you were trained to do?
Okay, second question. How many of those sessions a week do you think are important?
One.
That's what I was going to guess. Yeah.
Because it's you're
like going full pads in football.
correct.
Yeah.
It's hard in the paint, man.
Yeah.
One is really good. But all those other times that you're doing your other training, you need to be introducing this low intensity aerobic stuff like you talked about. Like you're doing the 30-minute roll at the low when you were doing the low intensity stuff, and it helped make you better, right? Like that's one aspect of this. So you need to train the really strong stuff. Doing sprints will make you better. Do you do any power cleans or snatching, anything like that?
I used to. I have a herniated disc, so I had to cut some of that stuff out. But I'm more like RDLs, RFEs, stuff that strengthens that back chain, not super explosive type stuff.
Okay. Do you ever box jump?
Not anymore.
A box jump is really good, right?
Is that low impact, you think, that aggravated back? Or I guess it depends on the height.
It just depends on the height, but it's like a box jumps can be really good.
What about that sled? We pushed that sled.
You can push the sled, but it doesn't give you the same incentive.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like if I don't jump my ass on top of this box, I'm going to bust my shins.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of incentive that comes with doing a power clean.
Yeah.
Right? I have to really recruit a lot of muscle to get this up to here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So you like that. That's a good push.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever heard the story of the lady that she was in a car crash and her baby,
Lift the car and all that
she
thing.
left the car.
Yeah.
She was incentivized.
Yeah.
So you have to push yourself mentally to a place. There are a lot of times at 4 a.m. that I'm about to back squat 400 plus pounds, and I will close my eyes because I'm envisioning moving this bar. I'm incentivizing myself psychologically to move this bar,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and there are guys that will visualize themselves having their hand raised or, visualize themselves and how they're going to play the match out, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to do this. It's like they put themselves in a situation psychologically. Maybe it's fantasy, whatever, but it's like they're trying to incentivize themselves to take themselves to that next level.
Yeah.
And when you do that in your training, the quality of your training goes up exponentially. It doesn't matter if you're grappling, wrestling, lifting weights, sprinting, whatever, your quality goes up and you get better. But you can't do that being comfortable.
Sure.
It's got to hurt at times.
Yeah.
Right? But people always go, well, intensity matters. But we have to define intensity.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to go at high intensity. Sometimes I need to go at moderate intensity. Sometimes I need to go at low intensity, right? So in your training systems, you got to hit all these different energy systems, and your intensity matters, right? And some people going at low intensities for long durations, it's not physically intense, but it is mentally tasking. But guess what? That may be where you need to be uncomfortable. And that's okay. Some people love to go hard in the paint.
Sure.
Some people
That's-
want to
most people do.
hurt.
Yeah.
Right? They want to go to that pain cave.
Yeah.
But if that is your strength, then you need to go to
train
the
the other side.
opposite end of the spectrum and build your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I think that's why jiu-jitsu is so hard, because you got to be good at so many different things and you have to train all these different things.
That's what I was going to ask you. So I'm down. Okay. The one hard session a week. I love that. Now say I'm on the mat 1 or 2 other days a week doing jiu-jitsu, and I'm rolling with maybe blue belts or purple belts or guys that aren't challenging me. I should use that as more like sport specific drilling type stuff. Like maybe I'm going to try to hit this move 10 times tonight on these guys. Right. I
Absolutely.
mean, that sort of, like in football, it would just be, I'd be doing the receiver drills or, just doing the sport specific stuff rather than trying to push myself to win when I'm rolling with somebody.
Correct. Because you're not competing.
Yeah.
You're training.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes don't distinguish the difference between coming to the gym and training and competing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're here to train, you're here to get better. And so, yes, you need to make sure that you have a really good agenda of what you want to try to accomplish, because if you just get in there and just think I'm going to go through the motion, well, you're getting quantity, but you're not getting quality.
Yeah.
And then that's not what you want. You're not going to get better that way.
Yeah. I really love that advice for your top high-end athletes, guys that are really training for performance. But back to sort of like just the regular human being that's trying to get through life, that wants to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's where I fit in.
That's where you fit in.
Yeah.
What you mentioned alcohol being, something that hijacks people, and you shared the reasons why. What else? Are there any other, top 1 or 2 things that you see take people out?
Yeah, alcohol, weekends, travel. I would probably say those are our 3 biggest obstacles. And I am a lot of our clients. I have a composition that in order to stay lean, consistency matters so much. It's never perfect. I don't have perfect weeks. I don't have perfect months, but a lot of the details matter a lot. So when you eat a certain way to work towards a certain goal Monday through Friday at 5, and then you come off of that structure, or you feel as though you've earned 36, 48, 72-hour break. We all know it's the 2 steps forward, 2 to 3 steps back, and it's super frustrating. And I know that firsthand because I really do have to abide by, for myself, for my own goal, in order to see change, I have to dial it in the vast majority of the time, or I live in maintenance. And maintenance might be wonderful for a lot of people, but I'm 10 months postpartum.
Okay.
I would still like to see change. And in order for me to make that change currently, it requires weekends too. And it requires being mindful on vacation. And there's a difference between getting the screw its on vacation and trying to make better choices with what you're given. You have a buffet at the resort. What are we picking? Are we picking the
egg rolls? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was thinking breakfast food, so we were on the same page. I was like, are you picking the chocolate croissant like straight off the bat? Like, did you drink all night the night before and you wake up and you have the croissant at 9 a.m.? Or are you trying to go and get the omelet, a higher protein option? Our little decisions matter a lot in order to see change.
Okay, so when you say weekends, is it usually just sleep and food choices and alcohol choices?
Yeah, I know it's fundamentally lack of routine. I know that is what throws people off. And I'm not asking people to hold the exact same routine on Saturday and Sunday, but people really get a screw it mentality and then get so frustrated at the end of the month when nothing's changed. And it is frustrating, but I once had a client print out a calendar, and every day she gave herself a green, yellow, or red check in her calendar.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we got to look at the colors, and it was like green was minimal on the calendar. A lot was yellow, which means that it was mostly a good day, but something went awry, whether it was chips and queso at dinner or, whatever it is. But then there's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the entire month was red, red, red. That doesn't equate to
success.
Yeah. And so it just, again, if you're trying to maintain, I think that's one way of eating. And if you're trying to optimize your composition, it's another way of eating. And that's the difference.
Okay. So say you got a weekend thing with some friends or some family, or you're somewhere and you just know there's not going to be healthy food choices around. Like, how do you plan for that? What do you do?
Yeah, we get this question all the time. If you're on really wanting to be proactive, it's packing beef jerky. It's buying beef jerky at the airport. It's taking either applesauce packets, or we really like That's It bars. Or
what is it? What kind of bars?
That's It.
That's It.
They're fruit, 100% fruit bars.
Oh, cool.
It's seeking out the yogurt or the string cheese or the trail mix at the airport and just having a little bit of a plan for how you're going to execute it. And then we all know what is a better option at a restaurant. If you're at, I don't know, I want to say Barnaby's.
Okay.
Whether or not the double cheeseburger with French fries is going to support your composition goals better than the chicken, rice, and veggie plate. Like, we know which one there is the right choice.
Key lime pie, not a good choice.
If your goals are, and then of course portion size. So if everything's out of your control, how much of it are you eating? That can make a huge difference.
So
eat less of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Eat 2 beef jerky sticks before you go, and then have 1 slice of pizza and the house salad instead of 4 slices of pizza.
Are the beef jerky sticks all created equal? Is there a brand you like better?
Turkey Chomps is a good one.
What is it?
Oh, sorry, just the Chomps brand.
Chomps. Oh, yeah. My wife gets those.
Yeah, and then I like the Archer brand too, which is a little bit easier to come by these days. Chomps seems to be harder to find.
They got popular. They're getting bought out, huh? Okay, so I get my Chomps. I get my That's It bar.
Yeah.
And what about just like apples and bananas and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, like, what, as a girl,
yeah,
like the banana might bruise in your bag. I'm even making it simpler.
Yeah. I usually pack some apples. That's a pretty good one. I even smuggled some fruit in from another country the other day. My kids were like, "Dad, it says on the side you can't break." I'm like, "Breaking my apple, dude. I'm about to be hungry. Shut up."
I mean, you can level it up too. I've traveled with oatmeal packets, and in the coffee machine, you can just do hot water, and I'll dump my oatmeal into the cup it comes with, and then I have protein powder, and I scoop the protein oats,
So are you trying to tell us that in order to have really good results, you have to sacrifice a little bit?
Unfortunately, just during the process of change. That's what I try to explain to people.
Okay, so just during the process of change. So change could mean like, I'm just going to keep it simple, lose 10 pounds or something like that. that process is when you got to have hyper focus.
Yes, and not everyone is created equal. Some people are going to find that they have way more wiggle room than other compositions, and that's what makes nutrition hard. When people bring me in videos to watch from social media, it will be a 200-pound female getting advice from a totally jacked black guy.
Yeah.
And I am thinking to myself, you have to find people who look a little bit more like you to know what works for them, because what he does, I can almost guarantee is not going to be what you should be doing, because I know that he has way more wiggle room than you might.
Yeah. And once you hit that, say you've already shed that 10 pounds, then you got more wiggle room. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, there's way more. I think most people can hold their weight pretty well. I think most people in year after year after year ebb and flow within the same 5 or so pounds. Not everyone, of course,
Yeah.
but I think most people can hold their weight pretty well.
And as far as, so do you work with a lot of females?
Yes.
Okay. So what are like the top female stuff? Is it postpartum? Is it PCOS? Is it like gluten stuff? Like what are you seeing that the most of your clients' issues are?
It's all of it. I would say right now in this season of life, it's a lot of pregnancy, postpartum, and then management of food in your busy season with all of your children.
Oh, totally. And sleep, sure. You know,
Yes.
it's just a disaster
Yes.
till they're like 8 years old.
Yeah, the 8-year-old has baseball games that end at 11 p.m., but you
Yeah.
also have a 3-year-old who's supposed to go to bed at 7:30, and there's a lot of navigating that.
Yeah. Okay. And then, but it's the same advice for all of them, really?
No, it totally depends on your medical conditions, your lifestyle. I mean, we ask you, and Michael is asking you some of this too. Like, we ask you what time you wake up, what time you go to bed, how do you train, how often you train, your food allergies and intolerances, of course. What time of your day is busiest, because we have on the go snacks and what time of day could you maybe spend a little bit more time putting a meal together, and all of that goes into how we structure a meal
Yeah.
plan
And
for
I think a
clients.
lot of moms like go all out on their kids' meal.
I say this all the time. If you are headed to the zoo, are you packing snacks and meals and drinks for your children? And the answer is always yes.
Yes.
Why do you leave yourself out?
know,
Why?
right?
What about?
What's up with that?
What is up with that?
Moms need love too, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Self-care.
You're not gonna put yourself over your kids, but
I am.
Yeah,
I need to eat. Those little stinkers can wait.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah. But at least if you're throwing a snack in for them, throw a snack in for you too.
Yeah, right. They're already meal prepping and planning so much for those little kids.
Yeah.
Just do it for yourself too.
Yes. Or they'll get their kid breakfast at 6:30 on the dot, and then their first meal of the day is like 9 after they've gotten everyone up, dressed, ready, out the door, dropped off at school, and when they come back is finally. And I'm like, if you're making your kid an egg and toast, make yourself some.
It's
eggs
like the
and
airplane
toast.
oxygen mask thing, right? You got to
Yes.
put yours on, then put the one on the kid. But how come moms struggle with that so much? What do you think psychologically?
That's a great question. I want to say we're like you just said, we'll always put our kids first. I also think that if you have more than one kid, you're trying to get everyone ready and set and out the door, and you can wait. Oftentimes, like my 10-month-old, if she's hungry,
You're host. You got to deal with that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if I'm hungry too.
Yeah.
But that's where the strategizing comes a little bit better. I specifically give myself 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, truly, before
They're up. Okay, that's good. But I guess now that we're talking, those kids train you to respond to them, and you literally have to for those first couple years of their life for their survival.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's probably just breaking that habit once they are, seaworthy,
Yeah.
right?
Or I think Michael's family is this way too. My family eats all of the same breakfast, except for the baby, of course. We are all eating eggs, corn tortillas, salsa, all of us, pretty much every day. My 4-year-old gets sick of it on the occasion, but it's the first thing we offer every time. It's what I'm hoping
They're gonna eat.
they're gonna eat. So I am trying to train him.
So what about just nutrition with kids, and how important do you think it is for their their attitudes. Like, you
Yeah.
eat crap food, you have crap attitude is sort of the mantra, right?
Yeah, so we do also work with children and management of behavior for ADD and autism. And our biggest piece of advice is managing blood sugar. So it's not that they can't have a cupcake, it's what can you give them in their bellies before the cupcake. So can they have nuts or a peanut butter sandwich even, or if they eat yogurt, just so that slows the rate of absorption of sugar into their bloodstream.
Fascinating.
So it's not that they can't have the birthday treat or, I don't know, the donut. It's just that before you bring donuts home, try to get an egg in them. So they don't have this huge sugar spike, hyperglycemic episode. Therefore, the hypoglycemic is where the behavioral issues start.
So do you see behavioral issues exacerbated by poor diet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the same thing can be true for adults. I mean,
Yeah, I get hangry.
yeah. Or do you, when I have sugar,
Totally.
does your heart rate race?
I just like I definitely now, like, I'll eat something and then I'm just like a total grouch.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
sorry, I just ate blah blah blah. Give me like 30 minutes and I'll
Yeah,
be fine.
so you have the emotional capacity to regulate that. The toddlers do not.
Totally.
So they're just going to have total
Oh
breakdowns.
yeah, I mean you can see all the kids. I'm like, what is happening? Oh, we had popsicles. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For sure.
That's how we.
Well, that's what I really like about y'all's practice is you guys cover the full gamut of humans. Like you've
Absolutely.
got super high performing athletes. You've got moms just rolling even
Yeah.
down to little kids. And do y'all, when you intake new patients, do you steer the moms her way and the high performing athletes that way, or do y'all all train everybody?
And we all work with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicole's been with me now for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, her knowledge and her ability to implement it with her clients, I mean, is
Yeah.
pretty remarkable.
I can tell she's off the map.
Yeah, she's really good. So it's like, yeah, she's comfortable with anything. I'm comfortable with anything, and so I think that's great.
I would say that you would probably agree. Sometimes there is a gender preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm a female, I'm definitely more comfortable talking to you.
Yeah, and he started with
For
some,
sure. Because I got girl stuff I want to talk about that I don't want to tell you.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would agree. Or he'll see my clients' parents, and they want to see me so that they can talk to me about things without getting it back to parents. Not that Michael's
That's
going
funny.
to share it, but it's an extra layer of security
There you
knowing that
go.
it's a different person. Yeah.
Well, is this a pretty fulfilling field to be in? Like when you see somebody get so much better?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like the biggest compliment your patients could give you is like to never come back because like they're good.
Send their family. Our biggest compliment is when they send their
Oh,
family
they send their family
members.
member to get some help too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we don't do a lot. We don't do advertising.
Yeah.
Zero, right? It's like 100% referral based.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you believe in what I do and what Nicole does enough that you're going to tell everybody in your close circle, you need to go see this person because they've really helped change me as a person and change my life for the better.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Well, I know we got to wrap up soon. Anything else you guys want to dive into before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I think we most definitely covered a lot.
We
of
got
it.
we got a digestible amount. I feel like I have like 6 or 7 other things I want to get into.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be brain overwhelm for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to come back in a couple months and we'll just keep chipping away at the things.
We're gonna have to make this a regular thing.
A quarterly thing, right? Just keep it on the calendar.
That's right.
Okay, so if people want to get in touch with you guys, website, phone number, book, how do they do it?
Yeah, we have made it so 2025. If you go on Google and search Michael Florida's Life Nutrition and you get our phone number off there, you can text that number.
Get out of town.
Isn't that the greatest news? You don't have to call
All right.
anyone.
Who answers it?
It's Leslie who works up front, and
Okay.
she actually is older than both of us. Sorry, Leslie, and she prefers to call you. So even if you do text the line, she'll
call you
probably
back?
call you back.
That's awesome.
But she's a jujitsu junkie.
Yes,
Really?
she is.
Yeah.
You better watch out. Don't take her off, man.
Yeah.
Roll it
I'm like,
behind
she'll
you.
She
choke
says
you
that.
out.
She
Choke you
says
out.
that to us too.
Keeps you all in check, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so if a new patient you call them patients or clients or
Clients.
So if a new client comes in, you have a 30-minute, hour-long onboarding session with them, discovery where you
1
learn
hour.
1 hour.
So typically we're gonna in-body you, which is about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're gonna come in for 1 hour.
And InBody is a machine, a piece of equipment. For
correct,
people that
measure
don't know.
body fat.
Measure body fat, all
Yeah,
that stuff.
But 1 hour with us, and we're gonna talk to you about what your day looked like, right? What
Y'all are
time
just
you,
fact finding. You're trying to find out everything you can about the
Yeah,
patient.
exactly.
absolutely. We want to know your history in sports. We want to know time you wake up, what time you go to bed, what time you work out, what you eat on a regular basis,
Yeah.
because that matters,
Yeah.
right? We need to build our plan based off of what you
Your
have
current
kind
habits.
of been
Yeah.
consuming, right? Because people want to typically use a chat GPT to use a macro calculator, right? But it's like that algorithm, I mean, your height, weight, age, stuff like that, it's taking into consideration, but it's not taking in your current habits.
Yeah.
And so that is just putting you in a window, and it's not necessarily a very small window of accuracy. It's a pretty broad window of accuracy, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you may do exactly what it's telling you to do and get zero results, So it's like for us, we ask all these questions because we want to narrow that window of accuracy so that when we write your plan, then guess what? I'm not going to have to convince you in 7 to 10 days if it's working. You feel the difference.
Yeah. And then so you guys interview somebody, work on that plan. They come back in, you go over that plan with them.
They leave with it.
Oh, they leave with it that day.
Yeah, we write it in
Oh,
front
wow.
of you.
And then how often do you do the follow-up on the plan?
Depends on your goal, the person. I know the silly answer. It depends. It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
So,
It depends,
but okay. So
About a month.
what are the extremes? It's usually about a month. Some people a little shorter, some people a little longer.
yeah, we both have had clients who came every other week for quite a long time, and then we have some clients who come once a quarter at this point because they are in more of a maintenance phase.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that the goal, to get everybody to like once a quarter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
depends on the accountability.
Once again, it's like, hey, our goal is to educate you. Our goal is to put you on the right trajectory with all the right tools so you know exactly how to navigate your life in nutrition. And if you're doing that on a consistent basis and you've reached your goals and you've sustained those goals, you don't necessarily need us anymore, but people like to check in just to kind of, hey, I just want to see where I'm falling and everything's still going good for me, but I want to know where my body fat is and my composition does seem to change. I feel stronger. Have I gained some muscle? Have I lost some fat? What's happened?
Okay. I love it. Well, guys, thank y'all for coming in. I hope y'all had a good time.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there wants to better themselves, make sure you check out Michael Florida's Life Nutrition.
That's it.
All right. That's a wrap.
Thank
Thanks, everybody.
you.